Alright kids, this is Bob here from Bob's Bar and Workshop and Mama's Toy. For 67 Mustang convertible. And I was bringing it back from getting it inspected today, and wouldn't you know, on the way home it started making a horrendous grinding noise from the rear end, and it sounded like the driver's side. So I've already pulled the wheel off, jacked it up, pulled the wheel off, chocked it, put it on jack stand so it's nice and safe. You guys can figure out how to do that. You don't need me to do that, but we're going to investigate what we got in here. I have to turn the e-brake off now so I can get this wheel off, or the brake drum I should say. I've had this car totally apart and back together, so I'm finding some brake dust, but I'm seeing burnt shards of metal in here. There's a little chunk stuck right in there. I'm gonna take that out. Oh yeah, that's definitely not from the brake shoes. That's burning. I'm suggesting we lost. I'm suspecting, I should say, that we've lost the wheel bearing. And, oh, ow. And I'm looking in here, and I'm seeing parts of the rubber seal in there behind the retaining plate. Now luckily these early Ford rear ends, you don't have to unclip anything in the pumpkin. These are all retained by this retaining plate, the bearing, and inside there's a collar pressed on that holds the whole shaft from coming out. So removing the 4 bolts that retain it, the plate, I'm going to do this just like doing a rear tire. I'm going to alternate here. I hope I didn't lose the gearing inside the pumpkin. Well, I was thinking about changing that too. These probably haven't been off since the day the car was built. Oh yeah, there's metal coming out of between the shaft and the plate. I can see it. So that's a good thing. They're cheap enough. Unfortunately, you got to have a shop press to get this thing apart or put back together. And you can use a well, there's a lot of techniques. Doing this old school ratchets only. These must be upset thread bolts so that they don't vibrate out ever. I need to get one of those drive adapters for my little impact wrench. Make this a whole lot easier. Oh, and the bolts have come out. They actually are bolts in from the back. I thought they were just studs, but they're bolts. Alright. They're all loose. I just need to take them out one by one now. I had this car completely apart and I redid. First thing I did was all the brakes and steering, and to make sure that was safe, I did that earlier. But then we pulled the engine, stripped it to the block. We reused the crank. We just had the crank repaired. Oversized bearings necessary from the machining, new rings, all that stuff. Double row timing chain. I put a slightly lumpy cam in it. Put 87 Mustang heads. It's a 302. And put an Edelbrock Performer 4-barrel manifold on it, and an Edelbrock 500 CFM carb 4-barrel. Electronic ignition. Lots of stuff. Renewed the engine completely anyway. So that's totally rebuilt. Of course, I did that back in 2004. Now, they say that these will just pull right out of here. And I don't know. I should put a nut back on here because they say this. Ow, that's sharp. Whatever it was grinding up, it was grinding it up good. Oh yeah, that's a mess. Alright, I'm going to pause a minute until I find a bar to open this up. Alright, that drum backing plate is completely loose now, so I'm going to put a couple of nuts back on here after I pull out the backing plate. So I got something to work with. Of course, I'm going to need a ratchet for that. Excuse me. In here to my ratcheting flex ratchets. Box ends, which that's the perfect match. This stupid thing. How do I lock that? Okay, there we go. We're going to take this little beast to the drive-in tonight and found out we got this problem. I gotta tip that just another notch. Stupid thing! You lock. There. I smell the nasty rear end oil. That high sulfur stuff is nasty, I'll tell you that. Alright. So. Everything should be free. Maybe she's coming. Well, oh yeah. Yeah, the whole bearing is right there. Oh yeah. I can barely turn that. Alright, I'll have to wait and see what else I can do. Pause. Okay, I was able to use my old steel steering wheel puller through the hole in the flange to actually push this out. Man, it's ugly. And the bearing won't even hardly turn by hand. Looks like the bearing and the seal are all in one. But there's my axle shaft. Seems to be plenty of lube on it. I'm definitely going to have to do a super good job of cleaning that out. I don't want to get any of this debris back into the pumpkin and the bearings or anything, or into the gears. So I'm going to vacuum that out. I don't think anything got past this point. It's a good thing. Yeah, that's nice and clean. God, that might be the original oil from 1967 in there. But I'm going to get a vacuum cleaner and clean that out. So I'm just going to stick a couple of these bolts in the wrong way just to relocate this backing plate. Because I'm thinking I'm going to stick a plug, a paper towel in there just to keep anything from flying off. And inside the axle. There we go. And then I'm going to suck it with this vacuum cleaner that the lovely missus is bringing out here for me. Can you reach it? Oh yeah. I'm going to rebuild this rear end on a upcoming project here. Oh shoot, come on, get in there. There we go. Yeah, see that stepped bushing on this shaft went into that groove and kept any crap getting into the axle housing to screw up those gears, which I guess is a good design. I'm going to get some solvent and clean that. I just got some WD-40 here, which has lots of solvents in it that'll clean that crap out of there good. Oh yeah. Flushed it out nice. Now, it appears that the bearing rides right in this straight race right here. So the bearing is one piece and doesn't have a race inside the axle, unlike some other Fords. So now I just got to go figure out how I'm going to press on a new bearing. I know how to get the old one off. You drill through and chisel it off, but it looks like the seal and the bearing and everything is all in one piece in this. Alright guys, well I'm going to put it on hold until I get parts, and we'll put this thing back together, and then we can go joyriding again. Till next time, I'll keep you informed. God bless, stay safe. Alright, Bob here again. Hey, we just got back from the drive-in. The plan was to take that Mustang, but because the wheel bearing blew up, and I just wanted to show you some of the metal shards that I dug out of the brake drum from that bearing giving up. And I also wanted to show you, I know the camera sort of went dead during the part pulling the axle shaft out with the steering wheel puller. So I had to put the shaft back in gently, just enough to push the car back in the garage. So tomorrow, or whenever I get a chance to and pull that out, I'm going to show you how I use that steering wheel puller. So until next time, stay tuned, and I'll be able to get that fixed as soon as I can buy parts. Take care.